Nothing will ever beat Attack on Titan, but you're looking for other animes to enjoy. Let me share with you my opinion on other great animes. I do, however, think Attack on Titan is number one, so bear in mind that I do not believe any of these are better than Attack on Titan. 1, Jiujitsu Kaizen. Pros, no fan service, minus literally one 3-second scene that's super uncomfortable, but it's women on male. Not good, not justified, but I'm just warning you that there is that one scene. There's one scene where a character says that he likes women and you see like girls in bikinis. Nothing honestly too outlandish in my opinion. Other than that, as far as I remember, no fan service. Only attractive fan service from both the men and the women in my opinion, but not sexual. Other pro, best action anime that I've ever seen personally. Another pro, characters you just love, like you really love these guys. Cons, some anime moments, like a good amount at first. You have to kind of trust the process until you get further along in the season. All of season 1 is good, but it's kind of goofy, lighthearted. It has serious moments, but season 2 is really when it gets like closer to like an AOT level. Not saying it's on AOT's level, but closer to, right? Another con, I think that it's not as deep as Attack on Titan. It's not as like heart-wrenching. It has its moments, but definitely not as. And I would say plot is probably where it struggles a little bit. It's kind of like every anime you've seen as far as like the plot goes, which I personally don't mind, but that is a con to some people. Next, My Hero Academia. Pros, second best action anime I've ever seen, and then Attack on Titan is the third action in my opinion, but it goes JJK, My Hero, Attack on Titan in my opinion, which I love action. Second pro, best character development of any that I've mentioned, including Attack on Titan in my opinion. I think the character development in My Hero is absolutely elite. Another pro, really cool power system. I really think that like the way they have their powers is super cool. Another pro, you'll love those characters more than potentially any anime ever. Like the love you have for those characters is unbelievable. Okay, cons. First and foremost, fan service and a hefty amount of it at first. There's a ton of it at the very end of season 1, like the last 2 episodes. Hardly any up until then. And then a lot in season 2. Like a lot in season 2. Just like way more than is acceptable in my opinion, but that's a conversation for another time. If you can get through both of those, it very much mellows out, minus one character that's introduced in season 4, and for unnamed reasons, she's only in it here and there in season 4 and then never again. In my opinion, as a softy fan service girl, like if it has it, I'm usually out. It's barely bearable. It's pretty tough. But it's not as bad as like some of the others I've tried and like immediately stopped because it's unacceptable, right? It's a little less bad. I don't know. That's up to discretion, but that's definitely the biggest con and the only reason it's not even higher on my list. 2, the pacing you may struggle with if you're like strictly an Attack on Titan person. They do like a good amount of like training fights. You might hate that. I personally liked it, which I usually hate that. Like that's the biggest beef I had when I tried Naruto is I'm like, get on with it. But in My Hero Academia, it didn't bug me. So that's up to discretion as well. I thought it was really fun and I thought it added so much to the characters and it didn't feel like they dragged on forever. It felt like there was a reason that they were showing us what they were. But worst case scenario, those are technically skippable for the most part. You could look at what happens. Okay, let's move on. Free Ren Beyond the Journey's End. I don't think it's technically an action anime, but that show upon first watch is like, oh, this show's good. And then upon second watch, that show I cried just as much as in Attack on Titan and My Hero Academia. Those are my top 3 most emotional animes are Free Ren, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia. Crazy statement. If you haven't seen Free Ren and you just heard me say that and you've seen the other 2, I'm serious. That's how intense the rewatch of Free Ren is. The first time around, you won't super get it. There will be a moment when it clicks in the series and you'll be like, this show is insane. And then Demon Slayer, of course, there is a little bit of fan service, I would say. Pros are that it's the best animation. Like, I don't really like how the characters look per se, but the actual fighting is the best animation. Like, it is so beautiful. Amazing characters, amazing character development. You just love them so dang much. Cons, yeah, just the tiniest bit of fan service, mostly in the entertainment district, which is as bad as it sounds. And then, like, a couple things here and there. I honestly, like, Demon Slayer is one that I watched before, like, any of My Hero or anything, and I thought it was pretty dang mild, even though it still made me mad because I hate it regardless. I thought Demon Slayer's fan service was pretty mild. Like, I would be surprised if almost anyone would be, like, super pressed about it, so I really wouldn't not watch it if you're like an anti-fan service person. Try it, and then if you don't like it, then yeah, I respect it. Another con that some people have is that they like season 1 he like trains like the whole time, But I don't mind that because then it kind of makes sense as to why he's actually powerful. I kind of beef with shows when they're just like suddenly powerful. And if they take like a reasonable amount of episodes to do it, I can get behind it. And then a solid, just like if you hate all of those, Death Note is often one that people love if they've loved Attack on Titan because it's very fast paced. Well, there's one moment where he's like looking at corn. It's super unnecessary, but literally other than that, no fan service. All business, like right into it, a lot like Attack on Titan. There's just something that happens in it that I really don't like, but I know that Death Note is very good. So those are probably the 5 that I would recommend. Did I do 5 or 6? I don't know. But those are the ones that I recommend if you're really struggling with moving on from anime. Big 3 fans, before you come for me, that is not an anime to put someone on if they only like Attack on Titan. It's just not. They have tons of fan service and horrible pacing and cheesy moments, and they're a little bit old. So that's why I recommend these guys. They're newer, they're better paced, they have less fan service. So that's my recommendation. And if you try them, please let me know what you think.